Our Sunday school is now dismissed, and if you graduated out of one class into another, please join your new class. Sunday school teachers can help you get there. Enjoy it, and we'll see you at lunchtime. So coming off of our spring refresh, I couldn't think of a better topic to talk about than love and action and volunteerism and the grace we experience when we receive the kindness and generosity of others. So if you missed it yesterday, you missed an awesome event. For those of you who are able to make it, we're so grateful for you. And if you weren't able to come, please come next year. But we had an amazing day yesterday. It was completely full, completely busy. It was kind of funny. At the very end of the day, I think it was Yosuke asked Pastor Mike, he was like, "So, was it worth it?" And we had to pause a little bit, like, because there's like a bad time to ask, like it's at the end of the day, been out in the sun, got like sunburned, and been running around all day long. But we had to say yes, it's so worth it. And it's something really valuable and unique that our church community does. Not just for the work that gets done, and so much work got done yesterday, and I think at some point every year, we have a conversation about, like, well, what projects should we do for the spring refresh? And it takes a lot of effort to organize each project as well. And sometimes there's like, well, maybe we should just do that ourselves. It would almost feel easier to just do it ourselves than to try to coordinate everybody and teach people how to do things. But the reality is, if we think that way, we'll probably never get it done. And it's not just the work that gets done. It's the opportunity that people have to serve their community and each other. It's the chance that people have doing something for the greater good together. Like, I love that photo that Mike took of all the ladies cleaning out the cupboards together. And I know that this group of ladies doesn't always spend a lot of time together, just at like a kid's birthday party. Their kids are all different age groups. They live in different parts of Denver, but it's an opportunity to bring them together. And I'm sure that in the process, there's also some really wonderful conversation and connection happening. And it's also an opportunity to serve the community in a very tangible way. My job yesterday was to stand at the entrance of the parking lot and to get parents to sign waivers for all their kids who jump on the bouncy houses. And in one way, it's not a very special job at all. and there was definitely a point halfway through where I was like, oh, my legs are tired, and I need to go to the bathroom. But it seemed like every time I stepped away for like 30 seconds, a crowd of people would come up from the park. And I would look everywhere. I'd be like, okay, looks like nobody's heading our direction. I'm going to go get a drink of water. And I'd walk away, and then everybody would come up to the podium. So I felt like I can't leave. But at the same time, it was an incredible blessing to me, because I got to meet every single person who attended our spring refresh, whether they were from our community or not. And I got to talk to them. I got to practice my Spanish. And I also, for some of the parents who came, maybe they were just here for the park and like, oh, it's something extra that's fun for my kids to do. But there were also people who were so moved that we were there and that there was something special for their kids who were maybe having a hard time. I talked with one family. The two boys came up first, and they were like, can we play? I was like, of course. I just need somebody to sign a paper. Is your mom or dad here? And they're like, no, my mom died, and my dad left us, but my grandpa's here. And I was like, oh, we'll send your grandpa over, And the grandfather, I was like, wow, you must have a really big heart. Your boys told me their whole life story. And he was like, yeah, I have a big heart. I have to. But I could see he really loved his grandkids. And he was just really happy that he could spend a day outside in the beautiful sunshine, and that they were happy and they could forget about the other things that were going on in their life, And the boy came back a few minutes. He had gotten a Broncos shirt from the clothing swap. He's like, it fits! And he was so happy. And then there were other people who would walk away with a garbage bag full of clothing and like over and over again, like, thank you so much. It's so hard to clothe, a whole family. And this just made it so easy. So for me, that was one of my biggest blessings, to be able to facilitate an opportunity for our community to be blessed. And I really wanted to share their thanks with you, because I'm the one who heard all their thanks. But it's really directed to all of you and the donations that you made with clothing and creating a wonderful environment, and your awesome kids who played so well with all the other kids who came in. It was really beautiful. But the Spring Refresh is just once a year, and it's just one opportunity that we have to serve and to connect with one another and to take care of others. This is a little quote to introduce the topic. Let us not love in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Here's another one from Luke 6:35. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. And your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. And I was thinking, well, it's one thing to help those that we love, to take care of people in our family and our friends or our church community, or if there's an event specifically designed to serve, if you volunteer at a soup kitchen or an organization, that's kind of what it's there for. But in our daily life is, I think, where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. How much do we have this attitude throughout the course of our life, not only with the people that we love, but when sometimes it's difficult? But this is often where it makes the most difference, or like when we don't have to, But I thought of it this way. It's like putting love out in all directions. We don't always know. I think it's nice to get a return on your investment, right? I think many times people try to reciprocate when they feel loved or they feel your kindness. But it doesn't always work that way. It's not always, I give this and then I get this back. Sometimes we give a little and we get a tremendous amount back. And sometimes we give a lot, and maybe in that particular experience or that particular area, it feels like it just kind of goes into a black hole. But I think the best attitude to have is to put love out in all directions and any opportunities that we have. Not only where we know we'll get the return. If we do that, there will definitely be times when we get disappointed. And I think many times what happens is, unless we're thinking about God or we're thinking about the kind of people that we want to be, it's easy to get a little bit resentful if we expected something back and it doesn't come. But I think that God and Jesus and our true parents are really our models of what it looks like to love and to serve and to give with nothing expected in return. I think about Jesus at the Last Supper, right? He invited all of his disciples, even knowing that one of them was going to betray him that night. and he washed all their feet, and he gave his love, and he gave his word to all of them. And it wasn't like, well, of course, there are 12 of you, so I have to wash 12 of your feet. It was, there's a love and sincerity there for each of them, regardless of the outcome. So I think for me, it's really a practice to accept that there will be times when we give, and it's not recognized or appreciated in the moment, but to give anyway. It's referred to in the Bible as a cheerful giver. This is the quote, 2 Corinthians 9, 6, and 7. The point is this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So if we sow bountifully, we reap bountifully. I really feel this is true in my life. If I plant seeds, if I continue to plant seeds of love and goodness and kindness and generosity, maybe not all of them will sprout. But if I just give it out in all directions, it's bound to come back. Maybe it doesn't show here, but something will surprise me from this direction. When I was on my gap year program, kind of a missionary gap year program, we had a phrase that we said often, which was, investment is never wasted. And I really feel that is a true phrase. And it's sometimes hard, and it's not like a instant gratification phrase. It's the idea that if I put my love and sincerity and heart into what I'm doing or into the person that's in front of me, even if I don't see the result, God sees the heart and the love and the investment that I put in. It's like it goes into a love bank. It may not do something right here, but that investment isn't wasted. God sees that, and it will be returned in some form or another. And I feel like that's something I've really experienced in my life. If we give without expectation, God wants to return that to us. I have a quote. This is from True Mother's autobiography, and she's speaking about her mother and the kind of example that she led. At the age of 11, while my classmates were running around and playing, I lived a rigorous and strict life of faith. With my grandmother and mother, I devoted myself to prayer, study, and worship. This is where the quote changes. My mother soaked flattened barley in water and added it to radish kimchi for her raw food diet while I ate millet porridge. Even though weak due to nutritional privation, when she saw farmers working the barley fields, my mother could not resist helping with the plowing. If she saw someone having difficulty carrying a load, she would volunteer to carry it for them. Without her saying a word, people were filled with admiration. "I've never met such a thoughtful person," one village woman would say to another, who would respond, "That's what I'm saying. I heard she's a regular churchgoer, but still she's so different from the others." My mother lived the exemplary life of an authentically religious person, always putting her faith into practice by helping others. So I think a lot of the times we focus on like the spirituality and the faith of Jesus and our true parents and their kind of religious devotion. But I love what's being said here is that if that's real, right, if we really love God, we have to love the people whom God loves. We have to take care of our brothers and sisters on this planet. We're walking this physical journey together, and we have to help each other along the way before we get to the end. And I feel like it's a kind of a wake-up call for me. I know personally I like to be very self-sufficient. I like to feel I can take care of myself, and I don't want to depend on others to help me. I don't want to feel like I'm indebted to other people. And maybe it's in this more modern life where we all have our own houses, our own cars, and our own jobs, it's maybe easier to fall into that way of life. I was thinking, gosh, back in like North and South Korea in the 40s and 50s, it was just an agricultural, like subsistence life. To get by, you had to help each other. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't, because things are, in a way, easier for us now. And in many ways, it's not so much the physical help that we need, but the emotional love and connection and support that we're missing. But I definitely reminded, there are times, like I feel like no matter how well prepared we are, there are always times when we're going to need someone else to step in on our behalf and give us grace. I was at the dollar store on Colfax a few days ago with my two daughters, and all of a sudden, of course, and I had said go to the bathroom before we go, because I know they won't let you use the bathroom there, because there's a lot of homeless people, and if you're not, like, you just can't use it. But of course, Annalise is like, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh. And like, next door is Casa Bonita. They're not going to let us in. There's, and so I asked the one of the ladies at the counter, like, could you use your bathroom? She's like, no, sorry. I'm like, well, who do you which of the businesses in this strip mall do you think would let her use the bathroom? She's like, well, there's the Ross. Try the Ross. But it's like way down there. My daughter's already like doing the potty dance, like, oh. So I'm like, okay, fine. Like, Mia, you watch the cart. I'm gonna go find a bathroom for Annalise. And I run out, and next door is this boba shop that just opened. And they've got a sign on their door, bathroom only for paying customers. I was like, I'm desperate. So I like opened the door, and there's this sweet Korean man behind the counter. I was like, could she please use your restroom? And I could just see the little bit of like conflict in his face, because he's got a policy, and there's a reason he's got this policy. Like, if I was a business on this strip mall in Colfax, I wouldn't let other people use my bathroom either. But he's like, she needs it. Go. I'll unlock the door for you, And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I was like, you know what? Let me buy something from you. And he's like, no. I'll give you stuff. And he was like picking macaroons out of the little cabinet, and I was like, well, so I finally bought one, and then he slipped like 2 more in, plus another candy. He's like, it's for her. And I was just such a simple thing, right? But I was so moved because I was in a little bit of a desperate situation, and he didn't have to. But not only did he let her use the restroom, he decided, just like the quote, right? He decided in his heart. He decided in his heart that he was just going to give. And then he gave as much as he could give. I've told Mike we have to go back there for Family Day and buy a bunch of boba from him. But even a simple thing like that touches my heart. It makes me think, gosh, what kind of opportunities am I missing to be that person for other people? I also, this last summer, I went to a conference in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and drove. It was a 7-hour drive there, 7-hour drive back. The car broke down on the way there, and again on the way back. And there's nothing to make you feel helpless is like when the car is broken down in the middle of nowhere, and the tire repair tools aren't in the car, and I ended up on the way back. It was just a tire that I needed to replace the spare tire, and I managed to get to a truck stop. And they were so busy there. They were like running in and out, and I was like, do you have some tire repair tools I could buy or something? And they're like, oh, well, we've got somebody who can help you. There was actually like a truck stop repair shop there. And then they were busy, and I was waiting, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. But finally, this guy comes up, and he's a rough guy, you know. I could tell he's got a rough life out in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. He probably doesn't have a lot of exciting things going on in his life. And he just kind of like gruffly repaired my tire. But I was like, thank you so much. You know? And it reminds me of like the Good Samaritan, right? It's not always the people of God who are doing God's work. God works through everybody who's available to take care of his children and touch their hearts. And I can learn something about God through any person that I come across and their generosity. And when we have those experiences of being invested in, of receiving grace, then we're inspired to pay it forward. And it reminds me that we really can touch other people's hearts, and we can teach them about God, just as True Mother's mother in her helping others to plow the field, feeding others when she had little to eat. But that was what showed people, oh, this is a real person of God, right? It's not that they probably don't see the religious devotion that she's doing, right, early in the morning, late at night. But that's what actually touches people's hearts, is what they can see. So what do we do that is a witness to God's love and grace to us? I think sometimes we forget about, like, I experienced so much love and grace through the boba shop guy, but do I remember how much love and grace God has given me in my life? That I can even be alive, that I can have a beautiful family, that I can live a life of purpose. I think wherever we are at in our life, we are only here because of God's love and grace. And us showing that to others is one way that we can be a witness of God's true nature. So I encourage you to not only come back to next year's Spring Refresh, but maybe find 365 other ways to show God's love between now and then. Even if it's just to your spouse or your children, somebody who needs help on the street. I am so guilty of just driving by when I see a car pulled over on the side of the road. I think really it's mostly because I have no confidence that I'd be able to help if I stopped. But I so appreciate the people who might be on their way to something important, or they might not have a lot of extra time. They might be on their way home to spend time with their family for dinner. But even so, right, there's like something special about the people who stop and care. So let's be those people to others and show God's love in that way. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, good morning. Thank you for a beautiful Sunday. Thank you for bringing us all back together after a busy week and weekend. And before we return to our schools and jobs and daily life, we come here because we love you, because maybe we're searching for answers, maybe we're looking for guidance. And I pray that you can speak to each of us and help us find ways, despite our busy lives and despite the things that we have going on, that we can not just always be looking inward and thinking about myself and my problems or what I'm trying to accomplish or what I need, but to really take your perspective on the people in our life and your children in this world, and how we can be a blessing to others, and how we can really become your hands of service and love. Thank you so much for being the origin of that and showing us your love and grace through Jesus and through our true parents. I pray we cannot underestimate how you work through us, even if we are broken. How you can mend us and how you can love others through us. And I offer this prayer in my name, Michael and Adonia Hendrick, Blessed Central Family. Amen and adieu. Thank you.